Blog Talk Radio.
Unscripted, on purpose, ladies roundtable discussion. That's right. We're back. And of course, you already know that I got my girls on deck. I got my girls be on deck every week. Every week, my girls be on deck. Hey, is my girls on deck? That's all I want to know is my girls on deck.
Hey, we here. Long day.
What's going on? All righty, so let's start with our regular, you know how we do, how your week been. So I think Kimberly Recant, Queen Goddess, the King Advocate, is on the line. How was your week?
Indeed. Well, I had a little bad news this week. One of my favorite clients passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we watched her. We kind of watched it happen. But you talk about a strong spiritual woman. That was one right there. I mean, we would have prayer before and or after our session. Sometimes during. I got a lot from her, and I was able to give back to her as well. So I'm glad we had those moments. We've been together for years, and it was just time. She didn't fight. She fought as long as she was supposed to, and I guess her job was well done and completed. So that was a little sad, but I'm glad she's not in pain anymore. Other than that, it hasn't been real eventful, but it's been peaceful and still. No, let me take that back, because one thing did happen. I had some spiritual and emotional baggage attached to me, which I knew that I did. I just didn't know how far and how deep it was. And it was at a point where I was literally not wishing ill on somebody, but would have allowed it to happen. You know what I'm saying? If something were to happen, I was in that mindset where I was like, I want to do something to this individual if I ever see it. And fortunately, I was able to get that demon off me, like in a day. Like I said, once I spoke it out and I started talking to other people, I got rid of it. Like it's gone. So I no longer have that emotional or that spiritual baggage, that demon attached to me. And that lifts a lot of freedom up off of me and allows things to come toward me that are supposed to, because I made room. So that was the best part of my week, I say. So I had a good week. I'll put it like that. I had a good week.
That's the stuff. I'm glad that your week was good. I'm really sorry to hear about the passing of your client, but I'm still glad that you had a good week. I want to ask everybody, because for some reason there'd be a lot of background noise or whatever. So if you're not talking, put your phone on mute and then just unmute it when you want to talk. So that way we don't get all that backlash. Because I don't know, and whoever, I don't know if it's the powers that be, stop scratching your lottery tickets while we on line, because we can hear you. Whoever that might be, way in Blog Talk world, I don't know. Anyway, the next one I see on the line that called in was Misty. What's going on, Misty?
You sound super happy. What you got up your sleeve? You sound super happy. I said you sound super happy. What you got? What kind of questions you got up your sleeve today?
Who, me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
But I'm doing good. No, I feel good. I went on my assignment from the 1st through the 7th, and I was super, extremely tired, but I am well rested today, and I feel, enlightened. I just feel, a whole abundance of peace and joy, prosperity, all that just upon me and my atmosphere and everything. I feel good. I feel really good.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. We had a good conversation this weekend too. We was talking about, nature and all that kind of stuff. I think Kim and MBJ Live and them, they started to rub off on that.
Oh yeah. I told you I was already heading that direction way before the talk show even started, but they're just boosting me up, and I'm like, yes, got some like-minded people. That's my sister and my brother. Yes,
that's what's up.
And I love
that's
it.
What's up.
I was already a nature person. And then you too, Patricia, with the videos, with the going in the parks and all that stuff, that just boosted my energy. So That's what we're supposed to be, all on one accord.
You know what? I did that video in the park before I left Atlanta, probably like in June. God was just leading me, in that direction. I think at that time, me and MBJ Live, we were, still on the radio, and he was talking a lot about nature and all that kind of stuff, and kind of got me wrapped up in that world. So it was like, God was just ministering to me, once I got out there. It was deep, and I shared it. So when you talked about it, I was like, yeah, I got a video, where I was amongst the trees and just feeling it, the sun rays and everything. And it's something about that being amongst the nature that you really can hear things the clearest. And I don't know what it is, but, yeah, that was deep. Okay.
You always did videos in the park. You got several. You always did videos in the park. I remember watching videos, for a while with you going to parks, reading books and all that stuff. I remember all those videos in the park of you that you made.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've learned to tap in more spiritually to my inner man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not religious.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been religious, but I'm very spiritual, and I do believe in God. I grew up Baptist, so of course I follow, the teachings of Jesus and all that kind of stuff, but I am more spiritual than anything. For me,
right.
It's my intimate relationship with God that's the most important to me, and so that's, Well, I'm glad you had a good week, ma'am. And, yes, I do have your picture up there again, yes, just in case. Not that we're going to go down that lane. I'm not, because Kim already told me mind my damn business, but I just, in case you didn't see last week, And so the next person down the list is, it looks like Deshaun. What's going on, Deshaun?
What's up, everyone? Hello. And my week, hi, sisters. And I'm sorry, I'm keep clearing my throat, but I had a fantastic week working in the organization. We have some upcoming things coming up, and just the partnership and the support and sponsorship even. So getting things done. I've been getting things done within the last couple weeks, like really on point, working like from early to all day, taking breaks here and there. But it's paying off, so I feel accomplished. And me and Patricia, even though, Sunday we had an opportunity to hang out for a few minutes, and that was cool, right, Patricia?
Yeah, it was. We were supposed to be watching church, but I don't know what. We were talking more than watching church.
Yes, and eating breakfast. So, but no, that was nice. And just to know with us, I cannot wait till we all get together in person. And let's see, what else? And then I'm got some creative ideas for my business and my grandchildren, and I talk to Kim like 700 times a day. I'm so embarrassed, but yeah, I call her. But just
don't be embarrassed.
Those type of all of that in combined and going through. Still, what we are going through is change from what we have known for so long, and those little things really make a difference. So, praying, listening to God, and I still got some things that I need to do, but for the most part, moving forward. So I thank God just for the little things, and I'm looking forward to many, many more. Just so many things, and I'm looking forward to traveling.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really looking forward to traveling with some girls, just somewhere. I don't want to be fearful, but I'm ready for a vacation.
Yeah.
So
that's
my week. I feel good.
That's
good. Yeah, I enjoyed spending time with you on Sunday. I actually was able to give you the gift that Kim gave us when I was in Atlanta, and thank you, Kim, for that gift. So I wanted to make sure that I kept my word. And not only that, but you and I, it's just
She
sad.
did
We live in
that.
the same city and we don't see each other ever. So that was a good
Right. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
Kim, man, her products are just, man, the products that I have, man, I know, Kim, that those products are going to put you on the map. So just keep going, stay consistent. And with Patricia, I got to go back. We had fun, we ate breakfast, but then the business, you know, some of the looking into some of the things that you offer and graphics and T-shirts and different things. It was awesome. So I got the invoice, and thank you so much. And I'll be in touch soon about that.
You.
Yeah, but,
you
know, so we all, you know, just, I can't wait to hear stories of our success.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely
really
on the map.
It's
definitely on the map.
It's time.
Yes, indeed.
Well,
yes, it is.
Well, the week was really, really good too. I had an awesome week. Yesterday we had an awesome show on Move Unscripted. Because you know on Wednesdays we do the interviews, me and Mr. Stout, and generally we don't meet the artists that come on the show. Like we talk to them on the phone, and of course we look at their music and all that kind of stuff, but we never really get to meet them in person, hardly ever. But when we came to Atlanta, we had the opportunity to actually meet the Buckhead Boys ahead of time, and they are the bomb diggity. They are, you know, they came dressed like artists. Their energy is the bomb, and I just, you know, it was just awesome. And so when it came on the radio, on our podcast yesterday, it was just amazing. Like, they got so much energy. Like, they are definitely the next thing on the rise. And so that song that you heard, Pull Up, that's one of their songs. Shout Out to the World. You know, they got a lot of good music. Like, they're the bomb diggity, and their energy. I just love their energy. I love their hustle. I love their work ethic. You know, if he tells me he's going to do something, he does it. What's the word he used? Expeditiously. I like that.
Okay.
I was like, okay. So that was awesome.
I love that word.
And then the second hour, I actually co-authored, or I'm one of the authors in a book that was written by Maxine Williams Wright, who is a playwright and an author in Atlanta. And so she reached out to me and she asked me to be a part of her book project, which is called Testimonies, God's Unfolding Miracles. And so we had her and then some of the authors on the show. MBJ Live called in too, because he's one of the authors in the book. And it was just an amazing show. It was amazing. Like the point was to kind of introduce the authors, but it ended up turning into testimonies and tears and happiness and love. It was just a bomb show. Yesterday was the freaking bomb. I am not lying. And it just made me remember why I do what I do. It's like I love seeing other people grow and prosper and follow their dreams, and I just love that. So, and yesterday just reminded me of why I love it so much. So definitely for all those who, you're looking for the next best thing to book or whatever, testimonies, inspiration or whatever, definitely check out Testimonies, God's Unfolding Miracles by Maxine Williams Wright. That was the bomb book. Yeah. Wow. And that was my week. That was my week. R. Marie has already said she's out there in the daggone snow doing her thing, taking care of patients, so she's probably going to be late. And then Dr. A. Marie, she might be, because she's one of the ones that's always on the go, and I think she's going to go somewhere, so she may or may not be able to tune in today. But we got love for them. So Deshaun actually brought up today's topic, and I thought it was a very good topic to discuss. Because I got a lot to say about this. You know what I'm saying? I got scars from childhood. I got some stuff to say. So she said, let's talk about prejudice within the African-American community based on skin tone, finances, education, and demographics. And I just want to lead the conversation by saying, when I was young, being a dark-skinned female, in Columbus, Ohio is predominantly Caucasian. It is, And so my thing is closing off. Growing up in that community where being dark-skinned was not, it wasn't popular. I grew up with being bullied because I was dark skinned, And then I guess when I got to the point, because when you get to be teenagers, you start to looking cute, filling in, that kind of stuff. So I went from being the ugly duckling, tar baby, all the dark skinned names you can think of, to being, oh, you cute to be dark skinned. Oh, you pretty, but I don't date dark skinned girls. Oh, black and beautiful, black and bad, I used to hate that stuff, man. Oh my gosh. I'm like, if you're going to give me a compliment and say you think I'm attractive, then just say that. But what does my skin color really got to do with that? Like, I hated that. that. So I'm just curious, did anybody else grow up with that experience? Did any of y'all grow up with that?
Not
I just got called fat. That was it.
Oh, because you
the fat girl. Oh, that's about it. Wow, that's all right because I carry it well. Hey.
Right. Right.
So
for me, it was more difficult for me because I grew up in a family where all the girls and all my cousins were pretty and light skinned. I was the darkest one, so it was hard because when the boys came over to play with us, they always picked them. They never picked me. I was always sitting on somewhere watching everybody else. They, choose everybody else get chosen, but me, it was rough. It was rough. It was rough.
I didn't have any issues like that. My biggest thing was I was around people that had quote unquote good hair, right? And what no part of mine good. My baby hair had naps, okay? So I was like completely the outcast as far as that's concerned. But as far as my complexion, no, I didn't have that problem. I was like the skinny one with the funny walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what I look like when I walk from behind. I don't know what it is, but apparently my behind do something the rest of my body ain't doing. So I was, something would be said about that. But other than that, that's probably the only major difference that I had with the people that I was around. I know I had a ugly girl complex because all my friends and everybody else I hung around, they were pretty. Well, at least to me, you know what I'm saying? They were pretty, at least cute, and they had, quote, unquote, good hair. So even if they wasn't all that in the face, they had good hair. So, of course, they would get, picked and talked to and invited to everything, and they was part of the clique, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, well, I ain't got nobody to click with because everybody here got good hair. But most of them was Caucasian. I was in a Catholic school in the Jewish community. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the ones that had this quote-unquote good hair was mixed with Caucasian or something else. I'm like, well, I can't help. My roots deep, dog. I mean, they was real deep. They were real deep. So that was the only issue that I really had. The rest of it, I can't relate to. But that was enough.
Well, that's probably because you're not dark-skinned. If you was dark-skinned, you would understand my life.
I'm dark-skinned compared to a Caucasian. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're dark-skinned compared to... But we're talking about within our own African-American community.
But even in the group of people that were my own, they had the quote-unquote good hair. So mine wasn't based on complexion; it was based on the hair.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. So I see our Marie has joined.
Okay, let me know.
I'm sorry. What was you about to say?
Well, I was just going to say, when I thought about the topic, I thought about my experience, but it's not just a couple of experiences. It was the whole journey of when I was aware of my tone is very fair complected. So I thought about from when it was first brought to my attention to just, as in life, the benefits, if you will call it a benefit, and where it wasn't. So I grew up. My parents didn't. They never taught me. It was never instilled in me that because I was light complected, it was a better deal, or I was going to get better benefits, or I was better than. On really no way. So I was doing by it being done at me. So when I was growing up, I didn't have good hair. It was just kind of like reddish. Well, not reddish, like a sandish hair. I have freckles, and I still do. I forget that I have them. But I was always called like half breed or half white. Very mean. And that was growing up, and it was mainly from more the dark complected groups. And sometimes I would get chased home. I would have to call this girl that I could call to walk me home from school. So I was like, what is this? This is crazy. So going on and then getting into, just fast forwarding, going into high school, Caucasian, where I was on the drill team, and predominantly no black girls were on the drill team at that time because it was predominantly white. I believe that I was picked because of my skin color. But then in other places, it was more of, talking about me or because you think you're better than. So I just didn't get it. So it was more of a attack based on my skin complexion.
Okay.
But I never thought I was better than I because that was never instilled in me. People thought that was it because of the skin complexion.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
And then
so
when you get into the corporate world, and this is important when you get into the corporate world, the most of the Caucasian women, they don't care if you're light. They don't like you either way. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Okay. When you say in the corporate world, you're talking about
really
just the regular corporate
world. I can really
world.
talk about this. Yeah, right. Where mainly minorities aren't really in a lot of high positions, and that was my experience working for a state agency. So even with the stigma of because you're light and you almost look white, maybe and no, it didn't matter to that race. You were still a minority, and especially a woman. No matter if you got a PhD, I mean, it was just such a difference. I mean, I could really talk about this, but yeah.
I think that people who are biracial, women, men, but definitely women who are biracial, I think that they kind of have a hard. Or you hear them talk about having a hard. It's like they're not accepted by the African Americans that are darker than them or whatever. They might experience that jealousy or name calling, all that kind of stuff. They're not accepted by the African American community, but then they're also not accepted by the Caucasian community. Even though they're a mixture of both races,
right.
They're not the Caucasians don't accept them because of their own prejudices and whatever. And a lot of biracial children, people are very beautiful, but they got the jealousy from both worlds. I can imagine, even back maybe 40s, 50s or whatever, when racism was even worse, having to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like not being accepted by the blacks, but then not being accepted by the whites. So you're stuck in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like which way do I go? And then if you lean too much on the white side of yourself, the black people get mad. Or if you lean too much on the black side, the white people shun you. And so it's just like, how do you, I think that's something that a lot of biracial people talk about, children and stuff. They and you wouldn't even think it, but that they experience that. So I know that R. Marie is on the line. R. Marie, are you on the line?
I am on the line. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, teacher? So you actually did a twofold. First, tell us how your week was, and then tell us, have you ever experienced any type of prejudice, like against your skin tone or anything like that growing up? So you got a twofold. Tell us how your week was first.
Okay. First, my week was, I'm blessed just to be here. It's been, as far as the work week, it's been a little rough, but I made it through. Thank you, Jesus. So I'm going to just leave it at that. Now, as far as growing up, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
And Marie, it's within the African American community only, not outside of that. Prejudice. You know, did you have any growing up because of your skin tone or maybe your financial status or where you lived or where whatever? Did you have any prejudice growing up? Any experiences?
Yes, I did. Fortunately, it started within the home because I have a lot of brothers and sisters, but I'm 13 years older than one of my sisters. So there's a big age gap right there. And until she came along, and I'm really not a dark complected, but when you grow up in the house with a whole bunch of light-skinned brothers and sisters, they make you feel like real, real black. And in fact, it took me until I got into my adult years for a couple people to be like, you do know you're not that dark, you know. And for decades, just living in the house with them. Now, my mother is my complexion, so she's, you know, we're brown. You know, I'm more of a, I don't know. I'm not dark, but, you know, I'm brown. I'm just brown. And I love it.
Just a little bit of cream in the coffee. Just a little bit of cream in the coffee right now. You're telling just a little cream in the coffee.
Yes, I got a little bit. Not enough. I mean, enough to change it from the dark color. Just not enough to make it light. You know, and it made me very just growing up. You know, it really did because, you know, if you don't get comfort anywhere, you should always have some type of comfort and, you know, at home. And anytime I got into an argument with one of my siblings, the first thing that would come out their mouth was like, well, at least I'm not black. Ooh, you're black. Are you sure you're not adopted? And you know, yeah. Are you sure you're not adopted? Because you're not light-skinned like us. And I'm like, well, damn. You know, and then, you know, if I go to like family reunions or something from, you know, my mom's side, I blend it right in. But my father is mixed Indian. He's got some black in him. And then I found out that his grandfather was Irish, so he was white. And because I've always wondered, like, well, okay, well, I see where their hair come from. Because I would have to say about 75% to 80% of my family on my father's side has, you know, long curly, you know, as they call fine hair. I just couldn't understand, like, well, why are some of them redhead, and where's everybody coming with these hazel eyes and these green eyes? Well, that escalated from my great-grandfather, which I didn't even know I had a white grandfather until well into my adulthood. But that did kind of, you know, I saw the Cherokee. I see it in my cheekbones. I see the Indian in me. I just, you know, but that was it. You know, I'm a nappy-headed Indian. I don't know. I grew to love myself, you know. And then as a child, my mom, you know, because growing up in the 70s, a lot of things were very segregated. And I don't know what happened. You know, my mom, you know, I'm young, so I don't know. I'm 9, 10. My mother decided, you know what, I'm tired of living around these black people. I need a break. So she decided to live on the hilltop on the west side in the 70s, late 70s, about 70s. And it was awful. It was awful because it was elementary school, West Broad Street School, and it was 1,100 children, and only 10 of us were black. That was it.
Wow.
And I was lucky. Yeah, I was lucky to have another black girl in my class, but this black girl had long hair, so even though she didn't have the right color, it kind of gave her a pass. And she was polite, and she took a lot of that. I mean, my mother took her ghetto children and went up there with the white people, and it was awful. It was hard to fit in. I got chased home from school for being black, for being black. You know, I had a little kid when we're talking about here, you know, I hated social studies because every time we got on continents in Africa, like, well, teacher, does that say nigger? You know, and the teacher would laugh. She thought it was funny. Like, oh, you know, oh, Billy, you know, behave. You know, I mean, so it was so accepted with white society. So I got chased home almost every day for almost 2 months straight. I ran and ran and ran. Now, later on in growing up, by high school, that came in handy. I was a track star. But in elementary school, it was a price. I'd have to say that contributed. When you run into your life, I was running so fast. I ran into my oldest sister walking out the store. I didn't even recognize her because I'm too busy looking back to see if they're anywhere near close. And I don't know if it's true that black people are predominantly just stronger and more athletic because they were never, ever in close proximity. Epinephrine kicking in, you know, the player fight. You know, if they catch you, I don't know. They got sticks. I've never went through that when I lived in black neighborhoods. So I run into my sister. I fell. My sister fell. Her friend fell. You know, and I jumped up to try to run, and she snatched me up. She was like, "What are you running from?" Pointing, and she looked up the street, and it's like about, I don't know, 12, 15 boys and girls. And then you may see a couple adults like, oh, catch that nigger. You know, just crazy. It was crazy. That was 2 years of the worst time of my life. But that day, my sister said, well, I'm going to tell you like this, Marie. You already know you can't beat me. That you know. And today, we're fighting. I'm like, but it's more of them. She's like, I don't give a damn about that. And the minute they came up close, the little white boy was like, you better run, nigger. My sister snatched that stick out of his hand, cracked him in the mouth. Oh, it became a huge salt and pepper brawl on South Richardson. Because the boy ran home, and she took that stick from him, and she hit just about every. Now, my sister's like 3 years older than me. So although I'm being chased by my peers in 4th grade, you know, he tried to challenge the 7th grader, who happened to have been a pretty great street fighter, you know, and was taking karate. So she was ready, and she liked the fight, you know. So that was when the course of my life started changing. Because after that, although my sister, I was not her favorite sibling by far, never knew why, but it gave her a reason to go up to the school every day. When she got out of school, if she was in middle school, she would come up to my elementary school, wait, and just wish, like, I wish somebody would say, you know. So she really saved me in my elementary. I just had to, I guess she felt like she could be the only bully towards me. Nobody else gonna bully her sister except her. So she did save me a lot. I mean, it didn't help me while I was in school, but she never missed a day after that. And that, I mean, it was bad. It ended that whole big brawl. The boy came back with mom, dad. My sister was ready, and then it just so happened that the guy that she was going out with was like the third youngest out of 14 kids of the only other black family on the street that lived right across from us. So it went down. My mother's car, somebody blew my mother's car up. You know, they caught her car on fire. There was cross burning in my yard. It was something. It was, and it made me dislike white people for a very long time.
So most of your
family was into the Black Panthers. Didn't you say your mom or your dad was
my mom
a Black Panther or something like that?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was the Black Panthers. My father never did change. You know, my father died not being a fan of white people. He didn't like them, and I didn't understand that because his grandfather was white. You know. But, you know, it does when you're scarred like as a child, it kind of does something to you. I didn't really start liking I didn't really start accepting white people until after I got married, and my husband was in the service. And when he had to go overseas, all the wives had to get together and understand how things worked and how the ropes work. And we were like a beautiful rainbow. We were every color. We were every race. And then the racism was different in the service. It wasn't, oh, you're black. It was like, oh, your husband's enlisted. Oh, okay, my husband's an officer. You need to go to the enlisted people right down there. I was like, okay, damn. So, yeah.
I know for me, I didn't experience the racism with other than the childhood. When it came to the adult life, it wasn't until I moved to Atlanta, in all honesty, that I really experienced racism as an adult from other African American people. And it was like there was one, I was transferring from Chicago, because we're talking about demographics too. So I was a nurse in Chicago, and I was transferring from Chicago to Atlanta, same company, transferring to another position. I was getting paid a lot more in Chicago because, the cost of living in Chicago was higher. So I was getting paid a lot more. The money was great, whatever, but I was coming back to Atlanta. When I came to speak to the nurse, the manager in Atlanta, I immediately sensed that she wasn't feeling me. I don't know if she wasn't feeling me because, I was a nurse from the north and I was making more, or if I just felt like she was prejudiced against me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was a color thing, but I definitely felt like she was prejudiced against me because she made it hard for me from the moment from the gate. Like I was making a lot of money and I was having a lot taken out in benefits because I was working. I was getting it. The money was good in Chicago, but I had like 3 jobs. So the high benefit package that I had with that company, it didn't bother me because I was making money. But when I transferred to Atlanta, I didn't have those jobs. So they lowered my pay, but the company refused to change my benefit package. But that shouldn't even been legal. But I went through hoops and hardships when I first got to Atlanta because of that lady and how she did me. But then I noticed that was something, there was something about the way that I was treated by, some of the African Americans. Like I felt the prejudice. I felt the colorism. I felt all of that when I first coming to Atlanta from Chicago. Like it was crazy, and so But the thing is, it's like in Atlanta, the Caucasians, except for the ones who grow up or are used to being around blacks, most of them live on the outskirts. Am I right about that, Kim? Like Metro Atlanta is filled with is a melting pot, but everybody knows not to go outside of that. Like you don't go to Forsyth County if you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? It's certain places that you don't go to. Am I right or wrong about that, Kim? Or have you experienced that?
I have not experienced any of that, no, ma'am. But I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, like certain parts of Georgia, African Americans are still not welcome. So, like when I would go further past, like Johns Creek area, especially when I was doing Uber, you know what I'm saying, and I was picking up. A melting pot of people. And you would feel the shift in the way that they even acted towards you and everything when you went further north towards, like I said, like Johns Creek and all that. Like, yeah, the colorism thing is still in Atlanta. It really is. I mean, I felt it. I don't know about nobody else. Yeah. But so you never experienced that, Kim, not even with your clients.
No,
I think that's sad when you because they say Atlanta that's the black people's state. That's our city. That's where we welcome and the down south southern hospitality. But I do notice the colorism. It's sad that because the motto should be when you reach one, you teach one. But unfortunately, especially in the black community, you have those that want to help, but you have those that when they make it, they either don't know you no more, or they don't want to help, or like, oh, I had to do it on my own. You do it on your own. It's always something, you know. And it's sad. It's really sad that it's so accepted. But some people look down at you like, oh, girl, you don't want to. That happened once, and that happened actually a couple years ago before my auntie passed. It was her 80th birthday. And, you know, my brothers and sisters, they're a little wild, a little bit. Well, actually, as everybody got older, everybody didn't calm down. But then one of my cousins had said in front of one of my sisters, like, oh, God, here come rubber cock kids. She was like, oh, there goes the party. You know, it's about to be ghetto. You know, and then my sister was real offended. She didn't say anything to her. She was like, well, what does that mean? She was like, oh, not you. I mean, you know, his older kids. And, you know, when she told me, I said, you know what? If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Unfortunately, it did apply to me. And I just had to ask her. But I'm like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, because, you know, I know about some skeletons in your closet. And what you've done is way worse than what any of my brother. Way worse than some of the members of my family. I'm like, and then you're out here in this neighborhood. Well, we moved to Lancaster. Well, we did. I mean, but they weren't welcome. I'm like, I've lived in enough suburban areas around suburban people that would still tooted their nose up to you. Turn around in private and need something from you. But, you know, when they get around, well, you know, who they're accepted by, then they want to talk about you or turn their nose up to you. You know, so to me, it doesn't matter where you live. You know, I mean, you live where you're comfortable. But I don't know, you know, are you comfortable when you knowing that you're going into a neighborhood or you're going to a city that's known to just love, it's the greatest city in the world to be black, just to find out when you get there there's a lot of prejudice against you by your people? It's really sad.
And don't let that Southern hospitality fool y'all. Let me tell y'all something. Everyone's like, oh, the South is so hospitable. They're so kind. They're so sweet, you know. And the North is so rough. No, the North, you're gonna know they don't like you. That's the difference. In the North, they just shady as hell, and if they're gonna be shady, they're shady as hell, and they don't perpetrate and act like they like you. In the South,
right,
they'll be like, oh, you want some oranges? And you don't know if they didn't put did like, you know, like the help and then put some shit in there. Like they're not, they hide it. They put on this mask of how much they like you or they want to help you or whatever. But in the back they be doing stuff. Don't let that Southern hospitality fool y'all.
But Trisha,
I'm gonna tell y'all that. I don't care what nobody say. Don't let that Southern hospitality fool y'all.
Didn't you do better though down south? Didn't you do better as far as, you know, getting your book off, getting your movie off? I thought that you did better down south.
I did better creatively. In Atlanta, definitely. Atlanta was the ground for me creatively. You know, support came. The problem is they ain't want to spend no money. They'll come support you, but then if you be like it's $2 to get in, they like $2. You know, they don't want to spend no money. That was the issue with Atlanta, but they were supportive. The North, no, I made more money in the North. The North have more programs to help you get on your feet. The North, the people would spend. They may not, if they don't like you, they ain't rocking with you. But if they rock with you, they're going to spend money, they're going to help you, they're going to support you, they're going to put that money. They're going to do that. So the money was better in Chicago. But the creativity, you know, Atlanta was awesome for creativity. The problem is, like you said, the ones who are up there, a lot of times they don't want to help you rise with them. They don't want you to get to where they are, or maybe a fear that you might surpass them. So they'll come to your business, all that kind of stuff, but they're not going to introduce you to the connections that you need to take you to the next level that might put you above them. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
It does. Yes, it
does. Does that make sense?
You got to
it does make sense. It makes sense because a lot of people may say that they wish you well, But you can say whatever you want to say. It's what your actions are. Like if you say, "Oh, girl, that is just so great. I'm so proud of you," and the minute you turn around, like, she thinks she all uppity now because she got this, because she doing that, or, like you make, girl, I saw one of your paychecks. I didn't know you made that type of money. Why are you living right here? I'm like, because I'm comfortable. I mean, I've lived in the extreme suburbs, when I was married, and I wasn't too fond of my neighbors. One, they're nosy. Like you're nosy. We got an acre away. What do you want from me? It's not like I'm right next door. You know what I mean? Leave me alone. Not all of them, but that has been my experience with most of them.
I know that even with,
you got to also take into consideration. You got to take into consideration the southern and northern mentality in comparison or in regard to slavery. Okay, when you start talking about Willie Lynch program, I don't know if you've read the book yet, if you had any studying on that. The Willie Lynch programming made the black people enemies against ourselves based on every characteristic. So based on the dark versus the light versus the dark, the old versus the young, all that in every way. And that was in the South. It's still that mentality attached to, not that it's not everywhere, but it's still that mentality in the South. You still got the house field niggas here. You know what I'm saying? You still have those people that, as far as the mentality is concerned, you still have those people who operate in massa slave mentality. That's not going to stop. That's just not going to stop until we get a clear understanding of who we are collectively, and that's going to be a minute until we all wake the hell up.
Hold on for a second, Kim. Anybody that's not talking, can y'all please put your phone on mute? Anybody that's not talking? Okay, I'm sorry, because there's background noise. Okay, now what did you say, Kim? I do know about the Willie Lynch stuff, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that that mentality, is still here in the South. The difference between, the field nigga, the house nigga, the dark skinned black versus the light skinned black. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, those differences were made or exacerbated, I should say, during slavery. That was the whole purpose and means of control in keeping the economy a certain kind of way, is creating that division and competition between us on every level. It's still in our mind. We've been conditioned to think that way, and we've passed that thinking process down throughout the generations, so it's continuing. Absolutely. The only way that's going to stop is when we as a collective realize that it started in the first place and how it's been implemented and carried on, and learn who we are spiritually first, and go back to that. Yeah. But it's not that time. No time soon.
Hey, Kim, I would like to just that was going to be my next posed question about the education piece, because that's why I put in the text at the end of when I wanted to talk about it. It's like we didn't create this. We've been a system, and we've been following it, and that's crazy to me. And so then it's like, why? So we do know that this was created to keep us in division in the beginning.
Yeah.
Does anybody know? And so, because I'm not all sure. I know my dad mentioned this to me a while back, that there was a man that started mixing, when you got the light and dark, how that started.
Yeah.
That was created to start mixing, so we can of the ideal that they're going to be all divided generations from generations in every area. Is that does anybody know if that's true?
that happened during slavery. That was the whole point.
Okay.
Like when you had the brute, and that was the male slave that was conditioned to just go impregnate. The whole thing is to start mixing the dark-skinned male with a lighter-skinned black, and then keep making it lighter until the whole shade of folk, and I can't think of the word that the whole process is called, but I don't know if it's epigenetics, whatever it is, but it's a process to completely annihilate the black race altogether. You keep making lighter and lighter and lighter. Crossbreeding is basically what it is, to keep making lighter and lighter and lighter until the dark is completely wiped out. That was a purpose plan to annihilate black, period. It still happens. That's why it's like subconsciously, that's one of the reasons why people, mostly black women, have an issue when they see black men with white women. That's a subconscious thought. It's in there. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like you're wiping.
Well, it just pisses me. What pisses me off is when the black man gets when they're trying to climb the ladder, they'll get a black woman by their side because they know a black woman most black women are going to stick by the man's side. We're going to if they digging ditches, we're going to be right next to them digging ditches and all that kind of stuff. And then once they make it up to a certain point, then they drop the black woman and they get a white woman or a mixed woman or something like that, and they show both them around, and then they come back and dog the black woman. Like there was an athlete that remember what's the lady's name that played in 12 Years a Slave? The dark skinned lady that played in that. What's her name? She has Lupita. I think she's an absolutely beautiful dark skinned woman. I believe she's a beautiful woman, period. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, oh, she's ugly, oh, she's dark, or I don't mess with dark skinned women. But I bet you before you had money and before you made it pro and before you became a celebrity, you was kicking it with African American women. You know what I'm saying? That's what I can't stand. Don't get no sister to do the dirty groundwork with you and help you sweat and go through all the issues, sleeping in the car. Like what's his name? What's the comedian's name from Cleveland? What's his name? What is his name?
In Cleveland?
Yeah. Did the talk show? I mean, did the game show? What's his name?
Oh, Steve Harvey.
You know what I'm talking about? Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey, when he was going through his periods of hardships trying to make it as a comedian, he had a black wife. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he made it to a certain level, he dropped the black wife and got the one he got now. And it's just like, and I guess the black wife was mad, like, why are you playing me now that you done made it when I was there when you ain't have nothing? Like, I hate that. Like, why do they get a black woman when they're struggling, but then when they make it, they get a white woman? I don't understand that.
I have a question. I have a question about that. I would love to ask them that, to ask each one of them to have white women if that's the reason. Because what if that's not the reason? Like, I don't know any. So how do we know that is the reason? Look at Matt.
And I don't know where you got your information with, Trisha. Because I listened to I listened to Steve Harvey's motivation speech. And, he talked about, he just had this dream that he went when he was 27, I think he was working at Ford. And somebody invited him to go to the comedy show. And when he saw it, because he was always telling jokes, getting in trouble for it at school, and, he said that he had a young wife. He wasn't ready to get married. She wasn't ready to get married. But back then, if you got pregnant, you married him. And he said that, he tried to work the job and she wanted him to stay at the job and work the job, but that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to tell jokes, and he saw that he could make money by telling jokes. And he said that, he'd be gone for 3-4 weeks at a time. He was only getting paid like $75 a week or something like that. He'd keep about $15, $20 and send the rest to his wife. There's days he didn't eat. And whenever he come off the gig, he said after about 3 or 4 or 5 months of just being broke and not really being able to provide, he came home. The wife was gone. His twin daughters were gone. He said that initially he was mad, but he really couldn't be mad at her because the husband is supposed to provide. Then I think he got married again. And, that wife, wasn't trying to be supportive. He said, and, he probably should have chose his family, but it was something that was in him that he felt like was a gift from God, and he couldn't stop. And he told her just hang in there. She didn't want to do that. So then as he started making it, he said that his current wife, Marjorie, had walked in there. He said she walked in late. First of all, he says, I was definitely had something to say when the show started. He said, but when she sat down, he said, and then it started off physical. He said, but it was just beauty. And, and they linked up together. And then, but he was making a little bit of money. So while they spent the weekend together, some chick called him and he was there trying to make plans with her. And he said the minute Marjorie heard that, she started packing her stuff and, just let him know. She basically let him know her worth. And what she wasn't going to do.
Right, I remember
and
that.
She walked out, and he thought that she would come back in there because, hey, he's Steve Harvey. He's up and coming. And when she didn't, as he dated other people and, saw other people, he realized the conversations that he had with Marjorie were just awesome. They were great friends. He said, and then he got in trouble with taxes. I think he ended up owing $2-3 million worth of taxes. And, and then as he started owing and started coming down his status a little bit, he noticed that all the women were still dogging him, just dogging, they he said it just kind of reminded him about when he was a kid growing up when he had nothing. And he apologized to Marjorie, and they were friends, and he told her, well, I don't got my fancy house no more, my cars, because, these taxes. But she took him back. She believed in him. He said he grew up, with the Lord because his mama was a Sunday school teacher for 40 years. But, she said she stuck by him. She stuck by him through the tough times. She accepted his children. He accepted her. I think she had a child or two. He accepted her. And, once they got it, he said at that point they got it. Then he said, I never could understand. He said we would do little gigs and every after we get like 3-4 days off, we'd be like, oh, man, we're going to stay at the hotel. He said, Marty Mac would always fly out like, oh, yeah, man, my wife's at home. I'm going home. He said, I'm like, man, we just got done doing it late at night. So I'm taking the red eye. He said, let me tell you something. All this stuff that we got here, we blessed, man. We blessed. He said, God has showed favor on us. He said, but if you don't have somebody that you love, that loves you when you wasn't shit, and you don't give back to the person who was truly the backbone, then you can't expect to have it long. That's why I've successfully been with my wife for over 20 years. There's been no rumors and no other women. He said, because when I'm done, because I know what type of women come in. There's all type of groupies that make it to the hotel, women that make it to your bedroom. You will come in there, they all naked. You don't know them from Adam. He was like, and I just felt like, I don't want to hurt my wife like this. I love my wife, and I don't want to hurt my wife. And had it not been for my wife and her support, I wouldn't even be here. He said that made him look at his life different, and he compared the beautiful models and the women that he was dating with Marjorie. She had a decent job. I forgot what he said she was doing. But when he decided to take it seriously, he married her, and he said that, I'm not saying I ain't never fall off the wagon a little bit. He said, but, she keeps me humble. He said she keeps me humble. And, so I don't know where you got your part from. I mean, and he could be fabricating some of the truth, but I did hear from his mouth because I do listen to a lot. I meditate every day. And so I came across Steve Harvey, and he was funny, and he made sense. And he was just, he just was honest about what he was going through.
So let's open up the phone lines. So if there's anyone who would like to join in on our conversation, especially if you are an African-American man married to a Caucasian woman or a woman of different race, I'm definitely curious to hear what you got to say. Or if you've dated one, drop the black girl for a white girl. I'm curious. So the number is 516-387-1247. Once again, it's 516-387-1247. 1247. So I to answer you, Marie, there's always two sides to every story, and so there was a period of time when Steve Harvey's ex-wife, I don't know if she was the first wife or the second wife, because I don't know how many times he's been married, but whatever wife was bitter with him was coming up, and she was really ranting and raving about how he was treating her or how he treated her, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought he said that he was still married to her when he started dating his current wife, but I could be wrong. But I just, even if it's not just Steve Harvey, I've just noticed that it seems like a lot of African American men, once they get up to a certain point, they choose white women. But then on the flip side, when a black woman or African American woman chooses a white man, then it's like it's an issue, it's a problem. It's all these different issues. Like the African American men, even though they date white women, they don't show love and respect to black women who choose white men. And it's just like they always want to throw up the, what they did to us and slavery, this, that, and the other, but they would turn around and choose a white woman. So I just, I know in the 80s, African American women went in on men who dated white girls. Like, you weren't going to be showboating no white woman on your arm back in the 80s when we were in high school or whatever. Although there were mixed couples, but it wasn't like it is now. I just feel like they dogged the African American woman, and I feel like the African American woman, even though I know, Kim, you do a lot of things to promote the African American man, but I feel like the woman is the one who goes through the worst, because we have to deal with so much, the children and the racism and issues that we go through in society when we have to work, and then if we have a man that's not supported, dealing with him and his drama, like women, it seems like the African American woman has been treated like the doormat. You know what I'm saying? Even in the music, we're bees and hoes and all that kind of stuff. Like there's no respect for black queens. You know what I'm saying? It's just not, in my opinion.
So let me chime in. Let me chime in. Did you get a call?
No, there's no call yet.
Okay, well, let me chime in real quick. And this is just my opinion, clearly, because I've never been a man. So this is my thought. But as far as the black men going toward Caucasian women, there's two sides to that. And this is just my thought. One of them is white women are less expecting of black men. Black women have a certain level of expectation from our men because we subconsciously and spiritually know their true value and worth. We know who they are, whose they are, what they are about, what they're supposed to be about, what they represent, and we want to see that. Because when they're in their position, we are in our position. So we have an expectation from them. And when we see that they're not living up to what they should be, and we speak on that, in their mind, we're nagging them. We're pushing them. We're being bossy. We're doing that because we have an expectation of their greatness, because we as a unit are supposed to be in a certain position together. So when I say to you, black men, I need you to rise up and get in your space. Do what the hell you're supposed to be doing, because as a black woman, I can't be your help me if you're not doing anything for me to help you with. Okay? So there's that expectation. They don't want that. They can't deal with that. And that began in the beginning, as it's written, when Adam turned, when he blamed God for Eve, when he blamed God for his indiscrepancy for doing what he wasn't supposed to do in the first damn place. He blamed his woman for why he fucked up. Okay? Let's keep it real. So that's just one. The other side of it would be because there is also that subconsciousness of the reverse slave master. master mentality. So now that he is a grown-ass man, as he thinks he is or whatever, and he's got this white woman, he is the superior because she is going to be submissive to him on a totally different level. She's going to submit to him in a way that a black woman won't. So he has the complex of, I'm master now. I'm master. Not overstanding that what he is not allowing himself to see is that this is not to shoot down anybody that is not black, okay, that is not melanated on that level. But he cannot see that woman is not even created his equal on any level. She cannot get him to the point that he's supposed to be because she cannot get there herself because it is not her place. It's impossible. It's just impossible to happen that way. But he doesn't see that because he hasn't had a true understanding of who he is by himself. He hasn't reconnected himself back to the source of him. He hasn't done that. So anything that comes along and says anything, kind words, soft whispers, whatever, to him that can pacify his emotions, he listens to that because there's no fight in that. There's no resistance in that. There's no expectation in that. He can deal with it. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can be minimal with that. He doesn't have to worry about fighting or trying to prove himself or trying to elevate or none of that. He don't have to do that. He can be his regular old raggedy minimal self, and she'll accept that because she don't expect him for real to do anything or be anything better than that. But
and you know what, Kim? I agree with you, Kim, because I worked with two Caucasian women, and these particular, I worked with a lot, but these particular two, both had black men, and occasionally one would come in, try to cover up her black eye with her makeup, and they would sit there and compare whose black man was the sorriest. And when I tell you, even though it had zero to do with me directly, it really, I couldn't get more angry just listening to these white women like, oh my God, my dude is so lazy. I'm here working 12 hours. He's probably playing a video game. And the other one's like, oh my God, me too. All my husband do is just sit around and eat and bark out orders and he'll do this, but I'm always the one working and he quit his job or he got fired. He take months off and da-da-da. I don't know what's wrong with these black men. And so I asked him, like, so why are you with him? Well, he's the father of my children. She was like, it's a lot harder trying to make it on your own as opposed to if you're with your mate. I'm like, well, it sounds to me like it's hard for you anyway because he's not pulling his weight. Then I had I'm like, so, and to me, a lot of them who cannot handle the strength of a black woman. Because to me, our black men are very strong, but that is also, all of that escalated from slavery. White people from the beginning of time, they got to be with whoever they wanted to be with. But these people were snatched from their husbands, from their wives, from their kids, brought over here, and then you're made to just, then the white man, the foreman or whoever, was extremely mean, brittle, cruel to all of us, but they'll lynch our husbands, they would lynch them. The kids' fathers, they'd sell their wives off, they'll sell the kids off. So when you take that natural family from a man and you snatch him up and she's young, she's first got plenty of kids, I need the help on the farm, our family was snatched from us. And we're sleeping with, then they're sleeping made to sleep with different people. You're going to do it or we're going to kill you, because at that point we were nothing but product. It was all about the money. They didn't even treat us like humans, so when you take that from hundreds of years ago and as each generation go through, I mean, and this is what you left for families who have strong family values, who tied with, what is the role. But I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. But we are stronger, and it's like, well, black women are so aggressive. Well, we gotta be. I mean, not all the time. We're not aggressive 100% of the time, but we always have to stand on guard. Because you're right, Tricia. We have been treated like doormats for centuries. And now we are rising. We're rising. Now you see a lot more women in corporate offices and stuff. But even then, we're not still on the same payroll as that young white man that's in the corporate office. It's always been discrimination.
Yeah, Viola Davis, follow her on IG, who I just love her. She reposted a statement she made about her accomplishments. She ran them down. And still, based on all of what she'd accomplished, they still did not want to pay her top, as equal. And she talked about it. She was like, pay me my worth.
Right.
But I don't think that's ever going to change. That's ever. And now we're getting ready to just go into something different. But I had a question, because I hear the slavery, and I hear us talk about what happened. And again, I'm on this, just real quick, okay, all this information I've known for so long, it may or may not be true. So I'm careful. If I don't know, I just don't say, because I really don't know. But this is just a question. I was told that slavery didn't happen the way that it's been depicted in the books and us coming over here and things like, from what I'm seeing and envisioning and being taught. Was that exactly how it was, or was it a little different? Is that exactly how slavery happened?
It was very different.
That's what I was told. That it ain't.
Because if you think about it, the people who wrote our history books were white men. So they wrote it and they looked. I'm like, there's like, and the slaves came over here and da. Because I've talked to a couple Africans, and this part I don't know is true. Because my boss is African. And I'm like, well, I'm like, it amazing. He's like, I am so disappointed in my American black people. He said, first of all, you are not kind to us. I'm like, what do you mean? But I do know a lot of black people who do not like Africans. They're like, don't call me African American. I'm American. I ain't African like that. I ain't walking around.
Mm-hmm. Now, are we really black? Black is a color.
Black is not even that. That's a whole. Well, you about to get into a whole different conversation. So,
okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
is that what we're doing?
Well, I don't know, because we're talking about slavery.
Is that what we're doing?
I mean, we're supposed to be talking about the prejudice, our experiences as African American women. Who else in the African American community have we experienced prejudice from, based on color, skin tone, where we live, how much money we make, who we're associated with, all of it?
Well, let's keep it there, honey.
Right.
What you just asked is a whole other show.
How about we take a quick break?
We've been kind of going left for a while.
Can we go to the right and play some music, and then I'll come back to the left? Can we take a break? Can we take a break?
Go ahead and play a
bye-bye.
song. Play a song.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, y'all. On the Move Unscripted, on purpose, ladies roundtable discussion.
Well, I think I read everybody.
Baby, I don't need nobody. I just want someone that can hold me when I'm lonely. Something like a homie, someone to console me. I've been feeling crazy, but in my mind
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Always needed by my side. It helped me focus, helped me come alive. And I know it's the realest. Takes like vanilla. The game is mine, bust it down like a swisher. Shout out to the dealer, know how I'm feeling. Ain't touch a price, we got the best supply. Till vanilla skies, yeah, that's on my mind, yeah. Soon as we hit Friday, find that supply. You survive for the people a week for. Gonna hit you like every other week or so. And I know he's the realest. Ain't power tripping. Some niggas lie, but it's just facts, not opinions. Shout out to the dealer, got no competition. I know the game is mine. Shout out to the supply. We rolling like a die, you know that he survived.
For all the negative, my love is lemonade.
Hello, you have tuned in to another episode of On the Move, Unscripted Ladies Roundtable Discussion. Things were getting a little bit hot and heated right before break, so I felt like that was a good time to cut in because I felt like the girls was about to cut up. And so, yeah.
That's what we do.
The good thing about women, we will fuss and stuff, and then we won't even be mad tomorrow, you know?
Sometimes that's the thing about us women, because women, honey, you know we can hold a grudge for real, for years, and it be over this bullshit.
Right. Right.
That's
yeah,
the
that
thing
might
about
just be
family.
Right. So if you want to call in, the phone number is 516-387-1247, and basically we're talking about prejudice within the African American community and prejudice dealing with skin tone, finances, education, and demographics. I know that within our community, I feel like a lot of times African American women can be really mean to each other and judge each other by what we own or what we have or our education or our finances. Like there's some really snobby women in the African American community that will literally look down on someone else because they feel like they don't have what they have, you know, like they can, like for me, example, I'm not the what's the word I'm looking? I'm not the high
name brand.
I'm probably ghetto as hell. Is probably what I need to put it down. And so, other women might look down on me or have looked down on me or treated me a certain kind of way because of who I am or, or what I represent. Like, they kind of judge me a little bit. I don't really care. As an older woman, I don't really care. As a younger person, it kind of bothers me. But as an older person, I don't really give a damn. But it really does still happen. Like African American women, we are brutal with each other sometimes.
Indeed.
Do you agree or no?
I agree. I mean, I remember I went out one time with, when we were younger, we go out. And sometimes you walk in. I went to a VFW lounge, but it was one of my friend's father's birthday, and he's a member. And so he said, well, when y'all come, because you can't, it's a private club, so when you come, you just have to let it, give them my name, so because you have to know somebody to be able to go in there. And we went in there. And the woman came to the door, and she was an older woman, and the first thing she did, you see her face squinch up. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm here for so-and-so. Well, do you know anybody? Oh, yeah, so-and-so. And, and so, she had to let us in. I guess he was president or vice president or whatever. But, as we going through, she was telling one of the other ladies that belonged to the club, I guess they let any old things in here. They got all these old young females in. I mean, just the whole atmosphere of the attitude just changed, and and it bothered me so much. And I ended up going to the woman like, did I do something to you? Do I know you? I'm like, because I'm just happy to be here in a gathering with my people celebrating someone's birthday. I'm like, I'm not in here to take nobody's man. I'm not in here to do none of that except to enjoy myself. Well, I'm just saying, then the woman, she flat out told me, like, I ain't got to like you. I don't know you. Hell, I got enough friends, and I'm like, ooh, she don't know me. But at that point, I was at a crossroads. I could have went ahead and just went head to head on the mouth game with her. But I just looked at her and I was like, well, sis, you're right. You don't know me and I don't know you, but I wish you nothing but love, and I walked away. But I do, the couple of women that were with me was like, she just mad because she all old and wrinkled and shit, and then as I got older and I went out, and it was a couple years, I went out with some ladies in my age group, and there were two younger black women came in there, and they were young, they had firm body. I mean, the same things we had when we were in their age group. But when the ladies in the group was like, look at them thinking that they all that and da da da. I mean, it was just like an instant yes. And I'm looking at them like, wow, she looks really, really pretty in that outfit. It really suits her. Oh, she thinks this and she thinks that. I'm like, is that what we do as we get older? I mean, because I thought the girls looked nice. I thought the young ladies looked nice. But some of the women in my group just had nothing but ill will things to say. Now, to me, I'm thinking, now, are you saying this about her because that's how you really feel, or are you saying that about her because that's how you used to be once upon a time, and since then you've kind of let yourself go and you no longer look like that, and men are not paying as much attention to you as they probably once were, but they was giving these young ladies that came in all the attention. I mean, so was it an instant jealousy? Because it brought me right back to the time I went to the VFW lounge, with my friends, and we were younger. That was about maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And then coming up, and then this was happened when I was out with a group of women, and we were just out to, get a different change of scenery. That was only like a couple years ago. So I'm like, wow, now do we act like that as we get older? I really hope I don't get to that point. So
I'm curious because Misty's been really, really quiet back there. I ain't heard Misty say nothing. Misty, so what are your thoughts?
Girl,
Misty,
I'm saying, look, I done logged into Facebook. I done been on here. I'm just like, y'all go ahead, Marie, girl. I'm like sitting back like this girl knows she can talk. Like, love.
Every year I say I'm going to work on it. That was one of my New Year's resolutions. As you see, I'm not even mid-schedule. It's hard. It's a lot harder than I thought.
Only other thing I wanted to say was I remember, growing up in the house, and my mom, she always told me you was just the ugliest baby I ever had. Wow. Like, you were the ugly duckling. And so I grew up with that complex.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, my mom used to tell me that all the time. But now, for like the last 20-something, I'm going to say 20-something years, she, always tell me, like, you were an ugly duckling, but you're the beautiful swan, But, over all those years, that she told me that it set in, and I had already started looking at myself in the mirror like, ugh, you ugly,
Did you ever tell you?
I had already been seeing that.
I want to tell you, Miss, you are nowhere near almost even kind of ugly. You are absolutely gorgeous. So let me just put that in your ear in case that's still swinging around in your head there.
Did you ever confront your mom with that?
No, I ain't never said nothing to her. Because I know, I look at myself now and I, give them affirmations to myself every morning in the mirror, to remind myself that I am beautiful. And I would like to say, Deshaun, I just love your freckles. I love them. They're so beautiful to me.
Well, I thank you so much because I'm telling you, I got teased younger when I was younger about my freckles, and I remember I came home and I told my parents, I need a cream that will take these freckles off, and I think I seen something on TV. And I think I got the cream. I got the cream to remove the freckles. They ain't one come. I think they even came back darker because in the summertime
even stronger.
They get darker. So I thank you, but I hated them. I wanted them to just go away. And now I gotta go home. I don't even remember seeing one. Kim, do you remember seeing one? And Patricia, because I don't remember. So I'm gonna go back in there and look. But men today will tell me, I love your freckles. I'll be like, oh, yeah, I forgot I have them. So it was more of, like, why do I want these? I really hated them. I wanted them to go away.
Oh wow!
You know,
it
be the things that we hate about ourselves that people pay for
that
now.
other
So
people,
people might be paying for little dotted freckles and pimples and little moles and stuff on their face now. They be getting that stuff surgically in place. I know when I was younger, I got teased for having a big butt and big lips. That was, in spite of the color, I was like, wow. You big, cooler lips. You know, one boy used to call me kicker butt. Like, it was like I used to get teased because of my butt, because I guess maybe back then I was smaller, so my butt stuck out more, and they just used to call me big butt and all that kind of stuff. Now they're getting implants. You know what I'm saying? You got booties that look as big as planets now. You know, big lips, people getting injections. And I'm thinking to myself, y'all used to torture me about having a big butt and big lips, and now y'all paying for it? Are you freaking serious?
Right. And you know what? They're paying thousands of dollars every single day. Those doctors they're so wealthy, but yeah,
so now
men,
I know they
women,
were just
everybody.
jealous of my butt. That's what that was. They was jealous of my big butt because they probably had flat butts. I get it now.
Or just following the leader, but you know, kids can be really mean, and well, when we have confessions, maybe I'll talk about it, but maybe not this show. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll bring that up next week. Have you ever been a participant as one? You know, so as being mean, you know, yeah, but not knowing like
I never
today.
Talked about people. I never talked about people. I never. I had too many people talking about me to be talking about people. I didn't talk about people. Like, I didn't, like, she's ugly or I never did that kind of stuff. In fact, Marie, you know, back then I was quiet. I never talked about people. But I swear, everybody used to come for me. They must have been like, listen, this is coming from Patricia Year, so everybody come for her. The only one who even liked me back then was Armory. Armory took me up under her wing. And maybe she had that fight in her nobody messed with me. She had that fight in her from her sister. Like, y'all ain't gonna mess with my Patricia.
Yeah, there was a guy who liked him a lot, but he picked with Trisha, and I liked him until I found out that he picked with her, and I'm like, oh, you know Trisha, and he was like, oh, you mean, you know, I mean, you know, he had a nickname for her, which I'm not gonna mention. I'm like, wow. I'm like, are you aware that she's my best friend? And he was like, really? I'm like, really? I'm like, so you got, I'm like, I don't date people who talk about other people. I'm like, and the fact that you're trying to run down my best friend, that's the issue for me. So that would be a no as to, will I be your girlfriend? No, I will not, because I don't like people.
Oh, and that's good. That's good.
Torture me.
That's a friend. That's a friend because there's some women that would be like, oh, I'm going to join in and date them, because I've been there too, where you talk about, it's like, oh, you talked about it, but you're my friend. Oh, only in my face.
Right.
Oh, well, I used to think I was the ugliest thing walking, because none of the boys would ever ask me out. None of the boys ever, it was like they talked about me like crazy. No, but listen to this. So you dog me out as when we're younger, and then when we're no longer in school, you say, oh, I used to like you, or I used to have a secret crush on you. What? You should have kept that secret to yourself, because you tortured me throughout my life. I don't give a damn if you used to like me. They used to, it was really bad. They used to, I thought it was the ugliest thing popping, and the only person who really befriended me was Armory. Armory was my friend, and I was her role model.
Armory.
Yeah, she was. She was my only freaking friend.
People can be very mean. People can be very mean. I had a girlfriend named Tracy, and we were really good friends, but together we had the principal of schools tell us, you guys don't come back here. we did our work, but we were just together. We were awful. We would get in trouble, but we would get in trouble with over stupid stuff. And this is when we were like high school. But just, so there was this one incident that I didn't really realize that it was really hurtful until I saw me and Tracy was out after high school, graduating, looking for jobs, and we saw this particular person, and we said, hey, and she looked at us and turned her head. And I thought about all the things we did to her at the career center that were very mean. I had to ask for forgiveness, but it was pretty bad. But it was stupid stuff. So maybe we could talk about it next week.
So, Deshaun, you was a bully? You was a bully, Deshaun? You
No,
used to be a bully?
no, because I used to get beat up. No, no, I didn't get beat up. No, I didn't get beat up. I was just, I was on the drill team for all the time. And when you were on drill team, you couldn't act up academically. Your academics had to be at a certain level, and you couldn't be getting in trouble. And plus, my parents didn't play. I'd get in trouble. So, no, I wasn't. There was just this one time during the career center that we really hurt a young lady's feelings by the way me and her acted, and I'm not going to tell y'all, but we thought it was funny, but actually when I could see her face today looking, and and I never did that again. But I'm gonna blame it on at that time was my best friend because she was the leader, but I just followed along.
That's her way of saying she was a down low secret bully.
but I was bullied and teased and everything. And if y'all want to know one thing we did, I can tell you. No, I'm not saying that. No, okay, go ahead. No.
Decided to keep it thinking. You know what? I've had people that
the energy is different tonight. Huh?
Yeah, I've had people that tried to be, mean to, because I was nice to everybody. I was like, I've even had people like, well, why do you hang around with, you're athletic, you're one of the cool girls, you're well known. I'm like, because, because there was a little, it was like a little saying thing that my mom had on her wall, and it just said, friends, what they said, true friends are like, it's crazy because it's been on the wall forever. But it says true friends are like diamonds. They're precious but rare. False friends are like autumn leaves. They're found everywhere. And I've kind of just adopted that, and I saw it every day when I got up because my mother had it. It was just one of her little statue things that she had up on her wall, and I'm like, wow. And then as far as but people that I didn't like back then, and it's something that I truly have to work on, sisters, because if I didn't like you back then, I don't still like you. I have had people like, oh, girl, hey, Marie, how you doing? Like, I'm not your friend. I don't like you. Girl, that was back in high school, like, exactly. So you keep that same energy, and, hey, I didn't even say have a good life. Like, oh, no, you keep that same energy. You didn't like me then, and I don't like your ass now. So, yeah, we're never to be friends. If I don't like you, I'm not going to hide it. I don't sit there and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, girl, give me your number. Like, for what? I said hi to be nice because it's an awkward, conversation. But I don't like you. So I'm not giving you my number. I don't want yours. And I could have just said something like, well, I wish you.
Right, no scrub. No. I don't want
scrub.
your number.
I don't want your number, and no, you can't have mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, we're not cool. We're not cool.
I would like to share an experience, and I want someone to tell me, why do you think this happened? When I was on the drill team at Brookhaven, I told you it's predominantly white. I hardly had any black friends or any African Americans. I said black. I'm not going to say that. I didn't have hardly any African American friends because they thought just because I was on the drill team, something that I loved so much, they thought that I was trying to be white. So and I meant to bring that up, but they thought majority. And as time went on, maybe 2 or 3 other black girls joined the drill team, and I became friends with them. But outside of the drill team, the black girls would tease me or be mean or say, "Oh, she's trying to be white." And y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I did not add white. I did not. I never wanted to be white, never, because there are, and that's another thing, a good discussion of women that really wanted to be white, black African American women that would prefer to be white, because I've heard that. I've heard that before.
Yep.
And really, no, that wasn't ever the reason.
So what's your question?
So the question is, why do you think, because I was on the drill team with predominantly white girls, that it was in their minds that I wanted to be white?
So let me ask you a
I
question.
just wanted to be on the drill team. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's like 2 questions. First of all, do you hear how you talk? How you talk and your complexion, okay? Your light skin. They say you like damn near white. You know, I'm sure you've heard that. Mm-hmm. And then the way you pronounce your letters and words and all that, you speak proper. So that has always been connected with, quote unquote, being white or acting white if you spoke proper English. Okay.
Wow.
So with you being around being around Caucasian women and being in their group, their clique or whatever, and you damn near white, you sound like them, and you know what I'm saying? Like all those things in their mind equated you trying to be white. Now here's my question, and maybe it's just me, but I've never heard this is new to me. I've never heard of an all-white drill team, okay? You had the cheerleading squad, and then you had the drill team. So my experience with the cheerleading squad, it was mostly Caucasian. When you dealt with the drill team, that was mostly African-American, melanated black women.
But I think in Columbus, in Columbus, Ohio, Brookhaven in the 80s, it was black. There were black guys on the football team, but it was a predominantly white school. So when I was on the drill team, only me and another black girl made it, and her name was Loretta, and I know I wasn't good. Coming in 9th grade, I was all skinny. I know I wasn't no good. I was just a quota because I got better, but I know when I first tried out in 9th grade, I think I forgot some of the steps, but because I was a light-skinned African-American, they probably said, she's going to meet our quota, so just throw her in there.
Yeah,
you don't sound like her.
Right, but they can't say, like, we don't have any blacks. They can't say, well, all the black girls have tried out, none of them were good enough. I mean, because they could definitely use your skin tone. But, DJ, I was accused of that. When I moved down south, it's like, you talk like a white girl. I'm like, I talk like a what? And it used to make me upset. A lot of things used to make me upset. I'm glad I grew up and got more mature. But I felt like, because I've always embraced education, especially like spelling, reading. So I've always tried to speak with correct grammar, but I never tried to sound white. But I did, and I still do choose to use correct grammar. You're like, girl, we ain't about to do that. No, we're not doing that. And I still correct people to this day. Mm-hmm. I try not to, but I do.
Yeah.
But okay. I'm not going to apologize for being educated. And I'm not going to let black people try to down me for being who I am.
Exactly. And that's good. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you about my speaking. When I worked in the corporate world, young, because I started out right at high school, the white women and the white men on my job would make fun of, in my face, the way I pronounce certain words. If I say I'm going to the bathroom, they would say bathroom, bath, or library. And so I began to say, now they making little jokes out of my pronunciation. So I would go back to my dad, and my dad said, you know what? You should know how to pronunciate words correctly. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why you're not pronouncing words. What is a library?
Right.
So he did not say I should. He did not come for me. He said you need to learn how to pronounce words correctly. And so I started to say, wait a minute, no. And then when I went to college, even in having to do reports and do presentations, starting out early, the teacher used to circle like, no, you didn't pronounce the words correctly. So I'm like, there's no way if this is something that I should do, why not do it? It didn't start out like that. But I was like, they pay attention to every word I say, and if I say a word,
you breaking up. You breaking up, Deshaun.
I'm sorry. If I said a word,
can anybody hear it?
I hear her.
Yeah, okay. She was clear to me.
Is it my phone?
Okay, so if I said a word incorrectly, I had to learn it. And then when I worked for a deputy director that was black or African American, she said, you better know how to spell, speak, and everything, working for me. And I knew that God was preparing me for what I do now. And it's something how other races look at us and laugh. Mm-hmm. And it might not be as apparent now, but, it's like they don't even know how to speak or how to talk or how to pronounce words. And it's like, no, but white people, they laughed at, they would make jokes right at work. It's not bad.
Well, I know they laughed at me because
it's not library, it's library.
I know they laugh at me because I never say any words correctly. I just talk, and if y'all can't understand, then get out your ghetto dictionary and look up what I said.
But
best believe they know what what they call them. They know what them words mean.
Ebonics? No, they know what the Ebonics mean.
Yeah. But a lot of the younger white kids today, they try to talk slang. I'm driving. I'm at the light, parking up a boom slang music, and I'm trying to look over there like, now why is this man playing this ghetto so loud? And I look over there, the white boy rapping it. I'm like, oh, we got so many M&Ms around here. It's not even funny. It's not even funny.
No, she didn't say M&M.
The rapper, now he was authentic because he grew up in a trailer park, but he went to city schools. He grew up around black people, and his passion for his poetry and his music just so happens to be hip hop. But now you got white hip hop stars white hip hop rappers just popping up all over the place, and then if a song come on, I don't know it. Plus you got black rappers who also lean towards white audiences because, white people are more likely to buy your record, whereas I can't speak for all black people, but myself, if I could get a bootleg, I'm not paying top price for it. I'm not
like that. Hey, disclaimer, I don't do that. I buy music. Don't do that. I know. I buy music. I buy music. But our time is winding down, y'all. We at the last of the last. I think that this is an awesome conversation. And something that we've been talking about over and over again and all that kind of jazz. I think the next week, though, I want to talk about generational curses. I want to talk about, molestation that has been going on for generations and generations in people's family, or, just generational curses. I really want to touch on that. So if we could talk about that next week. Because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Definitely molestation. Like, that's been going on for generations on top of generations on top of generations. And, like, what needs to be done to break that curse? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big thing. And I think that's coming all the way back from slavery time, too. I don't know, but generational curses.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about that next week.
No doubt.
What y'all think?
Okay.
That sounds good. And Deshaun, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, okay? If you don't mind.
Oh yeah, call me anytime,
all right,
sweetie. You call me tonight. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about generational curses, do you want us to focus on like things in our family, in our own personal families? And
that would probably be the...
Okay, go ahead, Patricia.
That would probably be what we know is what's in our own families, I would guess.
Okay.
Or what we've heard on TV. That's really all, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
But I definitely would like to talk about it because everybody has something in their family that seems to be going down from generation to generation. It's been like that little secret that nobody wants to talk about type thing. And it's just like, what can we do to break the generational curses? It may not be molestation. It might be something like low self-esteem or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I love y'all. Y'all know our time is coming towards the end. So next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday. I see y'all. Peace and love to y'all. On
All right, love y'all too.
On purpose.
All right. Love you, ladies. Bye-bye.
Fly's a beautiful thing. She's the queen in search for a king. Beyond gold in them diamond rings. She work her hard, but your girl can sing, cause she's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, she's aware and taking care of business, money, market, analytics. Lived in places you might visit. I wonder why she cannot a commitment, cause goddamn.
Light as day or dark as the midnight. You want a man that's gonna hold it down real tight. We making plans for whatever that we like. Take a nice ride, enjoy the twilight. You got that insight, the type that I like. Rent some bikes and ride through CD. Open up our worlds and talk freely. I'm going through my thoughts, hoping you feel me. First of all, you not too short or tall. When I'm thinking who's sexy, you're the first I'm gonna call. I remember we met the first day at the mall. I remember your face when you said you want it all. Babies in your ear looking fresh for the fall. Let me get that math, I swear I'm gonna call. Imagining your body all in the ball. I don't care if you got a husband, cause goddamn, you's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, she got skills, know to braid that hair. Look at those eyes, yo, I love that stare. Oh yeah, that girl right there. Damn near about to have an affair, cause she's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, body suit or business suit. It don't matter, girl still look cute. Her ass looking fatter when she wear them boots. No chit chat, she about to win that loot. They call her Shiva baby, she's a sexy lady. She asked me, do you wanna ride a by Mercedes, boy? No doubt what you'll I will enjoy. She too fly to be acting coy. Chocolateness, and then now I'm enjoy. Her beautiful lioness coming from St. Croix. She got a kind heart that you cannot toy. And if you run a game on her too quick to get her annoyed. She too sexy like she writes her Fred. Wearing purple and pink, she pinky red. She carry that lead, don't end up dead. And she looking super good, but she bout that bread. She's an educated woman, better use your head. And if you ain't about your business, better build up your cred. She travel around the world right now in Madrid, closing multi-million-dollar accounts. She do that, kid. Another pretty girl known as Misunderstood Beats. She got a body on her, plus she talks so sweet. She handles piano, writing music on sheets. She speaks Spanish and Italian, and she speaks Greek. She know astronomy, out-of-body anatomies. Her thoughts travel through space-time and galaxies. She know a lot about the world, of foreign policies, about the chicken, and I'm hoping to try it because she's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, she's so fly, it's a beautiful thing. She's the queen, a search for a king. Beyond gold and them diamond rings. She work her hard, but your girl can sing, cause she's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, she's aware of taking care of business, money, market, analytics. Lives in places you might visit. I wonder why she could not a commitment, cause goddamn. Sexy mama named Cassandra. She looks so good in front of the camera. Sexy lips, she juicy too. But bringing no drama if you're gonna be her boo. Top model when she walk her booty wobble. And when I'm with her, she make me feel like hit the lotto. Super cool, skin creamy like gelato. I met her on a set in Sand out in Cabo. The world recognize her as a female Tupac. I fell in love with the empress of hip hop. Look at the way she walk, the girl is so hot. She do the thing with the bars, got a zip lock. The first time you see it, gonna make your jaw drop. You get the bars for sure to make your body rock. I'm always gonna be a fan, and one day hope to be your man if I can. Cause goddamn, you's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, she got skills not to braid that hair. Look at those eyes, yo, I love that stare. Oh yeah, that girl right there. Damn near about to have an affair, cause she's a pretty girl. A pretty girl. Oh, body suit or business suit. It don't matter, girl still look cute. Her ass look fatter when she wear them boots. No chick chatter, she about to win that loot, cause she's a pretty girl. Pretty girls out there, do me a favor, put one finger in the air. Rock that shit, flaunt with the flair. Long hair or short cut hair, don't matter, girl, that's your hair. BBW is slim, oh yeah. I just wanna take you out somewhere, wherever you wanna go, yo. I don't care, cause you's a pretty girl.